morning, this is Jacob with another episode of the Let's Get to Business podcast. So this is going to be episode 103, and this is part 2 of Divine Design. So I'm doing a 3-part series called Divine Design, and the first episode we talked about I am amazing, our embracing our uniqueness, our embracing who we are. Like, what am I, and what am I? Embracing that identity. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about episode 1 of 3, and I'm going to call this episode "I Do Amazing Things." And so I believe that when it comes to anything that we do, I think we need to go back to the origin, back to the very start, where we were created, what we were like when we were created. The very first commandment that God gave us, He gave us a mission, He gave us a purpose, a reason for being, something to do, something. We were created for a purpose, for a mission, a reason for being, and it is partly to do amazing things. Genesis 1:28 it says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Now I'm only going to talk about the second part now. The first time around I talked about and God blessed them and said unto them, Be fruitful. Now, if you haven't seen that episode, just hop back and you can check that out. So I'm going to talk about, and it says, and multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Now, I'm going to talk about each of these. Then there's 3 specific parts within this doing. The first one is multiply. Now, when we look at multiply, why does he say multiply? It almost sounds like he's saying multiply over all the earth. And it says multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. Now, multiply. What are we supposed to be multiplying? Like, that's a good question. A lot of people read that and say, oh, well, we're supposed to have a lot of kids and just go fill up the whole earth. I don't necessarily believe that is necessarily what it's talking about. Now, it can mean that, and I know that is part of it, but it goes so much deeper, so much more than just reproducing across the whole earth. It says be fruitful. Now, what does fruitful mean? Okay, we talked about that in the first one. Be fruitful. So when a tree is fruitful, it bears seed after its kind, and that bears seed after its kind, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Now, and it says, and multiply. So multiply, multiplication is a part of being. Like, the first episode we talked about being. This is the episode about doing. Like, what are we supposed to do? Multiply. We multiply love and compassion. We multiply the work that we do. We multiply our effectiveness. We multiply the talents that we have been given. We multiply our strength. Everything that we do, we should seek to multiply. We should seek to grow. We should seek to be more effective. We should seek to be stronger. And we should seek to get more customers. And everything we do, I believe it's important that we seek to multiply. And then it says, and replenish the earth. Now, what is replenish talking about? And it's something that I was talking about. It means that before, when he is saying here, he's saying the earth doesn't have much. He's saying replenish the earth. Now how do we go replenish something? When we go replenish, I believe it is talking about abundance. We create abundance that fills the earth with many good things. We create abundance. Let's say, for example, now in this case, there were no other humans, or there were very few humans. Honestly, when he said this to Adam and Eve, there was only 2. So, when they came out of the Garden of Eden, like, how many people were there? We don't. All we know is that there was 2 in the beginning. Anyway, so then there was the children. There was only them and their children. So, once they got out of the garden, what were they supposed to do? They had to go out. They had to plow the fields. They were raising sheep. Those are the 2 things that they were talking about. Was like they were producing fruit and they were producing vegetables and things like that, and they were raising sheep. Those are the only 2 things it talks about in the beginning. But see, they had to start with, why was God telling the first 2 people this? Like, there was only 2 people at the time. Why was he saying this? Because he wanted us to have a purpose, a reason for being. Proverbs says, without a vision, people perish. See, we need to have a vision for the future. We need to look for the future. The replenishing the earth was part of that vision. It was saying you need to go out and create abundance. You need to go out and do many good things for the planet. It also implies a certain sense of responsibility over our environment. It implies a responsibility over Earth. We've been given Earth, like humanity's been given Earth. I believe that there is a certain sense of responsibility that comes with that. But I believe that it is more about abundance, like being able to, it says, replenish the earth. And then what does it say? And it says, and subdue it. Subdue it. I believe that there's that we need to have in our mindset, we do not allow the earth to control us, but we control it. In Colossians, I think, I apologize I don't have the scripture verse, but I just thought of this scripture verse where it says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We do not conform to the earth, but instead we become transformed. We instead of conforming to the way the planet is, which is chaos, we transform it into something beautiful. We transform ugly wilderness into beautiful farmland. We transform our business from a one-man show to 50 guys. We give 50 people work. We transform, we multiply what we've been given. We multiply where we start, and we replenish. It says replenish in this case. I believe we replenish, like in my business. Like I create abundance in my business. I create abundance in my life and the earth around me, the environment around me. See, what it's saying is replenish. Like they were that was their environment. That is our environment today. We create abundance. We create replenishment around us, and we design it in such a way that replenishment also implies that as it gets used, more gets added. It gets replenished. It's a continual thing, and I believe that is also in our business. Like we need to design it in our life. Is like everything we do, we design it in such a way that it will continually spring forth. It's like the water. Like let's say we take a glass of water out of a spring. It doesn't really matter because it gets replenished almost immediately. And I believe that is how our business and our life needs to operate also. And then last, but subdue it. We do not allow the things outside of our body to subdue us, but we subdue it. We do not allow the earth in our environment. See, when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, or sent out of the Garden of Eden, or banished, or whatever you want to call it, it said the ground will be hard, and the thorns the weeds will grow up. Like we need to subdue the negative things that happen in our life. We need to subdue the negativity in our life. We need to subdue the figurative thorns that grow up in our business, the weeds that grow up in our business. We subdue that. We take away those weeds and we take away those thorns and we subdue them, and we create something special. See, this is very, very important. This is a very, very important step to this, like be, do, and have. Now, the next episode, I'm going to talk about having. And this is a very key and a very critical step to having. We need to subdue. First we multiply the act. We multiply the work that we put in. We 10x it. We grow it. We multiply it. And then when we do that, when we use a resource, we make that it gets replenished. We replenish the resources as they get used. And finally, and last but not least, we subdue. We got to subdue the negative things that can happen in our life. When a negative thought happens in my mind, it is my responsibility to subdue that thought. I take it under a subjection. Paul talked about it where he was talking about, I take every thought into subjection. See, we need to take every thought captive. We need to take every thought, we subdue it. And the weeds of our mind and the weeds in our business, the weeds in our life, are there bad habits that are popping up? Are we subduing those things? Are we taking control of our life, or are we allowing control us? It's actually in Romans where it's talking about being conformed. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is a very, very important subject. In our business, are we doing multiplication? Are we replenishing it? And are we subduing it? So, very important topic. I absolutely enjoy this so incredibly much. With that, I'm going to wrap up this episode. I appreciate you guys watching or listening, wherever you guys are at. And we'll talk with you guys next time.